before I was doing this, I had a hip hop blog, hiphopsurvival.com, where we were interviewing artists like 21 Savage, Black Youngsta, Young Dolph. That was my income at that point in time. I was just making money off hip hop survival and I was losing the passion. And I wanted to do something where I could, grow my income. I started that blog because I had an artist. His name was Chris Moore was his real name. He's passed away now. And he's like, man, I'm reading this book. When I'm finished, you gotta read it. It's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Changed everything for me. Started digging deep into real estate online, found wholesaling. I was like, man, this is perfect for me.
One of the biggest questions that I am asked is, can you do the wholesale? Can you build an actual wholesaling business in a small market? Right? And the answer to that is, of course you can. You can anywhere that there are distressed property owners and motivated property owners, you can find incredible opportunities. But I don't want you to take my word for it. That's why I brought Travis today onto the show. I'm going to introduce you to him in just a second. He's incredible. He's doing 2 to 3 deals every single month. He's got an incredible strategy for lead generation that we're going to really break down. And he lives in Charleston, West Virginia, which has 50,000 people. Now he's in a few different markets there that equal up to 250,000 that he goes after. But it's not an incredible size, but he's doing incredible business, and it's going to be exciting to really learn how he's doing it and how you do this, how you build a successful real estate wholesaling business in small markets. So Travis Goodwin, welcome to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast.
Hey, man, thank you so much for having me.
Well, listen, Charleston, not huge. You've got 50,000. When you got started 4 years ago, did you start in your backyard, or were you trying to do it all over the place and kind of throwing things at the wall and then figuring out which markets you wanted to stay in?
Oh, man, I started right here in my backyard.
And so how'd it go? I mean, were you finding opportunities off the bat? I mean, 50,000 people, that means what? There's probably 15 to 20,000 houses, which if you look at the statistics, 6 to 10% of the real estate market is in some sort of distress at all times. So you've got, let's call it 2,000 on the high-end properties that you could go after. I mean, was there enough opportunities for you there?
Yeah, I mean, I think I had the same type of difficulties anyone else does, and no matter what size market they're in, like I was getting appointments, I was talking to people. I just had no idea what I was doing. I was lost, at first.
And so what'd you do? How'd you get started? How did you start attacking your market?
Okay, so I first got started with cold calling. That was the first thing I started to do was I picked up my phone. I was, it was something similar to PropStream. I don't even remember what it was called now. It no longer exists. But, I pulled a list off of it, and I was going to Fast People Search, True People Search, and I was just dialing, man, hand dialing by my phone.
And I love it. I love it. Listen, you do not have to have a huge budget to start this business. Literally, find an ugly property. You can go to True People Search, get the phone number for it if you want to spend no money. Now, is it going to be maybe 30% correct? Sure. If you really want to take it to the next level, go to batchskiptracing.com, put in the addresses there, and they're 90% accurate. But either way, you've got an ugly house. You've got a phone number, you've got the property owner's name, and now you just call them up and start talking to them, start building a dialogue around when they plan on selling that property. You don't even need a dialer. You don't need any fancy tools or technologies. You could literally, you're already paying your cell phone bill, or somebody is. Just find an ugly house, get the phone number, and start calling them, and you could start this business like right now, like right after this podcast. You could do it. You could go find it and start taking action. And that's exactly what Travis did. So how were those calls early on? Were you like, you know what? I was born for this. It's so natural. I feel like I have no problem doing this. Or was it like really stressful?
I mean, I was a little stressed and, I was nervous. I'm like that with everything. I always get nervous, but I kind of liked it, and I knew I wanted to do it and I had to do it because I wanted a change in my life. So I just did it. I didn't even think about it. I just made the calls. Like at first I was like, man, I don't want to do this, or what if they say this? And then I just kind of got over it and started dialing.
And you called them up and said what? Did you use the script? Did you use a
Yeah,
script?
I used your script,
Yeah.
exactly. Because I've been following you from the jump, and I used your script, and I got a lot of. Luckily, in my market, th- there's a lot of nice people,
Yeah.
So I didn't get a lot of people to yell at me and scream because there's not a lot of people calling them. So they're like, okay, yes or no,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and listen, there is an advantage to the smaller markets. There's just less exposure to other wholesalers and investors that are being proactive. I have found that, especially in smaller areas, and this really touches on kind of how you're lead generating now. I mean, you're still making calls, and we'll talk about the niche list that you're calling, but a lot of people do more marketing because the marketing cost in smaller markets is reasonable. You know what I mean? You don't have to spend, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month in marketing in these smaller markets. You can go with a much tighter budget. Now, the deals typically are a little bit smaller, a little bit
Yep.
tighter because the price points are a little bit lower for these properties, but a really nice return on investment if you're just looking from an ROI perspective. So that's a huge advantage. I mean, if you're worried, oh, you know what, I can't do this in my small market, test it.
Yeah.
Like, stop hallucinating. Stop making things up and just assuming that you know what's going to happen. Like, don't filter it through your own experience. Go test it and see what happens. And that's what you did, Travis. And you started building the momentum. Is that how you got your first deal, or how'd you do it?
So, so my situation's a little weird, man. So, 6 months of trying to wholesale, calling people, setting up appointments. I had a buyer, a flip company, and I was bringing them to appointments. I had no idea what I was doing. No contracts. So they were like, Travis, we see what you're doing, and you have drive. So why don't you come work with us as an acquisition manager? So, I was doing, if you want to be technical, I consider while I was with them my first deal, even though it was an assignment. So I
Yeah,
got
sure.
that by Deal Machine, driving for dollars, send a postcard. That was my first deal.
I love it. Deal Machine, guys, that is a driving for dollars app. Make sure you got to listen. It takes all the research out of these properties. You literally have an app on your phone. You drive around, you see an ugly house, and you're sitting in front of it, and it pulls up in this app and tells you everything about this house. Is it occupied by the owner? Is it a rental property? Is it vacant? How long have they owned it? What did they buy it for? What are the owners' names? All of these things are it is an absolute necessary tool in your toolbox. Check out dealmachine.com. If that's the only tool that you can afford, if you really have just a low budget at this point, and that's fine. I would get Deal Machine. I would do whatever you can. I would sell some stuff that you have, get Deal Machine, because you can really start building the momentum. I love Travis is even wearing the hat if you're watching this on YouTube. That's how much he loves Deal Machine because it works. And if you use the coupon code TTP, they give you the biggest discount that they have available. They're incredible friends to the podcast, incredible friends to the Rhino tribe. So that's awesome. So you're driving around, you're building that, and you sent one of the automatic postcards?
Yep.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And then what? So they called you?
Yeah. So what happened was she called me, and it was so the owner of the house was in a nursing home, and the power of attorney, which was her sister, gave me the call. She said, we've been thinking about selling. We got your postcard. Can we set up an appointment? I went out there. I talked to her. I felt a lot of pain. I didn't know, what the house was worth. I didn't know what to offer, but luckily I was working with them, so I brought them out. They were like, hey, this is where we need to be at. I told her. She said, you know what? We're going to accept it because my sister's just in a very bad position. She had just fell and hit her head in the nursing home. The house just, it wasn't in the frame anymore for them,
Sure.
So it was a $50,000 purchase. It had structural damage. Like they had to take the whole chimney out of the house. And they ended up putting, I think, 60, 70K in it, sold it for like 185.
Awesome. What a great deal. I mean,
Yeah.
it needed a lot of work.
Yeah.
If they're putting 60 or 70 into it, I assume it wasn't a huge house. Well, how big was it? Like 1,200, 1,500 square feet?
It's about 1,500 square feet.
Yeah, exactly. All right, got it. That's incredible. From a call, you sent out the postcard. They gave you a call. It was the right timing. You went in and you solved the problem. You gave it to your team, and they were able to get that closed. But it's great. Listen, Travis didn't know what he was doing. He didn't know, like, it wasn't like you were like this polished real estate investor that knew exactly how to overcome every objection and how to answer every question perfectly and how to go on these presentations. Progress, not perfection. All right? Massive imperfect action wins every time. If there are principles, if there are fundamentals to being a real estate entrepreneur, progress, not perfection, and imperfect action, write it down, like internalize it, and just make it a part of you. And I'm telling you, you cannot lose. You absolutely cannot lose. Travis is a perfect example of that. All right. So that's your first deal. You started building the momentum. At that time, you had an interesting job. And
Yeah.
I will say with 100% certainty that nobody on this podcast has ever had this job. Okay.
Yeah.
What were you doing?
I was, pretty much wholesaling, you know what I mean? But just to them, for very small fees.
No. What I'm talking about the hip hop.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, before I was doing this, I had a hip hop blog, hiphopsrevival.com, where we were interviewing artists like 21 Savage, Black Youngsta, Young Dolph. We had a lot of big interviews on YouTube, and it just exploded, man. My Instagram exploded, my Twitter. So that was my income at that point in time, my main income, and how I was, providing for my family.
So you're making decent money doing that. Why real estate? Why even get into this?
Well, I hit a point to where I was just making money off Hip Hop's Revival, and I was losing the passion. And I wanted to do something where I could, grow my income more. Like, I was at a ceiling with that. With the internet, you got algorithms. You might post a video one day and it do 1 million views, and the next video might do 1,000. So it was just hard to scale as a business. And what happened was I started that blog because I had an artist. His name was Chris Moore was his real name. He's passed away now. And I was managing him. So we built that to provide an outlet for him. So he's how I also got into real estate. One day we were talking, and he's like, man, I'm reading this book, and you got to read it. When I'm finished, you got to read it. I was like, all right, man. 5 months later, he drops a book off at my house, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Changed everything for me. I thought I wanted to be a flipper. I wanted to be a landlord, started digging deep into real estate online, found wholesaling. I was like, man, this is perfect for me. Because, me, I don't touch hammers. I've never been somebody with home improvement. So, thinking that I could make money off real estate, but not have to do all of that, man, that was perfect for me.
I love it. The purple Bible, as they call it, the purple real estate Bible, as they call it, the Rich Dad Poor Dad book. I mean, it's opened up so many of our eyes, and it's absolutely incredible. And it's right. I mean, there's two ways. You read that book and you're like, yeah, real estate. Yep, I'm doing this. Or you're like, nah, whatever. Good story, but I don't care. You know what I mean? But the people that read that and start investigating and start pulling on the thread of, okay, how do I get started in real estate? You get started by finding discounted properties. That's all wholesaling is. It's the art of finding discounted properties. And you don't have to have cash to be able to start in this business. And I'm telling you, you can build a unbelievably profitable, cash flowing business that runs without you by finding discounted property, finding these opportunities. And people think it's all about buying the rentals. It's all about building the portfolio. Stop it. First of all, There's risk involved there. Second of all, that takes a lot of attention and way more time. How about you focus on building a business that goes out and finds these deals, sells it to other investors, gets the cash, you get going into this business full time so that you don't have to do a 9 to 5, you can commit to this business, and then you start bringing people on to replace you, and then you take the profits that then go buy the real estate. It's exactly what Robert Kiyosaki was talking about in that book, Travis, about the cash flow quadrant, right? There's employees, there's self-employed is what we become as we start looking for these deals, and then you become a business owner and then an investor. So many people want to go employee to investor, and it's not the right path. That's why 85 to 90% of the wholesale deals that we do, these distressed property owners, are tired landlords.
Yep.
They got destroyed because they didn't follow the right path. And I'm telling you that this is the right path. Start as a self-employed person, just like Travis, just like me. Find these opportunities, build a business, hire incredible people, be a magnet for talent, and then invest in amazing assets. And that's what you're doing right now. You're building an incredible business. So I want to get into this, Travis. I want to get into how you're getting a lot of your deals right now, because I don't think it's discussed much on this podcast. This might be the first time it's discussed on this podcast. Maybe not. I'd have to go back. We've done a lot of these, but you're getting internet leads from a certain source. So let's break that down.
So I'm using a source called Need to Sell My House Fast.
Yep.
And like, you know how you have pay per click? I call this pay per lead. So they're doing the advertising for you. And when the lead comes in, you know, you're paying for that lead when it comes into your market. So your market's going to, you know, the price is going to depend on the competitiveness of your market, how many people's doing it. But in these smaller markets, you can, you know, do $75 per lead per se.
And it costs you about $1,200, right? It's about how many leads per deal?
Usually about 12 to 15 leads per deal, $1,200 a lead, usually something like that. I mean, a contract.
Now, listen, guys, and this is really important. 4 to 1 minimum standard with marketing. If you put $1 in, you should be getting $4 back. Okay, you shouldn't 25% of your income or less for your marketing. Now, listen to this. What's your average deal size? I mean, income from your deal?
Yeah, around $7,000.
$7,000. Yep. Okay, do the math.
Yep.
$1,200 in, $7,000 out.
Yep.
That's incredible. I mean, it's just, and is there a threshold there though, Travis? I feel like maybe, like if you were to throw in like, oh, well, great. Well, then I'll just throw in 100,000 a month and I'll get 700,000 out. Have you tested that? Is there kind of a threshold of, you know what, my budget should be about this in these markets because, you know, there's only a certain amount of potential?
Yeah. So in a market like mine where it's so small and the deal sizes aren't very big, I stay conservative with those leads and I don't do more than, you know, maybe $1,300, $1,400, $1,500, just because, you know, that's why I'm also doing, you know, the cold calling still with my niche lists.
Yep. Awesome. Guys, that is Need to Sell My House Fast. Now, are they available everywhere or are they only like certain amount of people in certain territories?
So the way that it works with them is like a bidding process, you know, so it's all over the country, but you might have other people bidding, and that's when it gets crazy. You know, like in a small market like mine, there's not much competition, but I couldn't imagine a place like Phoenix. You know, you're just going to keep on paying to go up, and that's just crazy, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's absolutely the truth. You know, when we were really running our pay-per-click, it was nice. We were spending, you know, it cost us about $7,000, but we were making over $50,000, which was fantastic. But then all of a sudden, it crept up to like $19,000, like so fast. You know what I mean, Travis? And maybe you've experienced this on your own. Crept up so fast, and then the deals started getting smaller. It started to be like, oh, well, our average deal now is $38,000, but we're spending $19,000. And then you've got your acquisition manager and disposition manager, and yeah, it's okay, but the profits just weren't what we wanted it to be. We stick to that 25% rule with marketing always, because I'm telling you guys, if you don't, you're like 90 days away from giving away a lot of profits if you're not closing deals. So really, really, really make sure that you put that into your business if you're at a position where you have a budget to market. Because remember, there's 3 ways to find deals out there. All right. Number 1 is marketing. That's when people call you based on your marketing. Number 2 is referrals. That's, again, when people are reaching back out to you because you've got a great reputation. People know what you're doing. But the third way, and you need to have a reputation. It takes time to build up that referral database. And the third way, and the way that we really push here, is to be proactive and earn it. Reach out and you initiate the conversations with the people that are owning these distressed properties. And 1, it's wildly profitable. And 2, you can start it without having a huge budget. And that's what most people do and take advantage of, and then they build up enough momentum to then put money into a marketing budget. So, awesome, Travis. Let's break down a deal. Let's break down that deal that we got real excited about the other day that you posted in the Rhino Tribe. Break it down for us.
Okay, so we got a lead. This one came through SEO. Okay. So
what does SEO mean?
So, website, they go to Google, they type in, sell my house, West Virginia, they found us, came through, with Carrot, the Carrot site, and It just came through our database. So it came through, they were relocating, to Texas. So I call them and, I just further qualify them. I go by the script still to this day, but it's a little bit more natural now, And I just, talked to them. They said, look, we're looking to move within 30 days. My wife got a job. She's getting relocated for the job. And we just need to sell this place quick. We don't want to deal with agents. We don't want to deal with that. So, I was like, okay, how much do you want? They wanted like $45,000. The house is probably worth, 70, 50, probably about 60 in as is condition, 60, 65. So I was like, wow, this sounds like a good little lead, So this was actually in Huntington, West Virginia, which is about 40 minutes from me. Okay. So instead of driving there myself, I just sent a guy there that I know to take pictures for me. He went there, took the pictures, and I was like, man, this house looks like it's in okay shape. So I knew with the price range that he was looking for that I wasn't going to be able to wholesale this one. So what I did was, I talked to my partner that's a buyer, and he does fix and flips. He's been doing them since the 90s. So me and him went back down there, did the final walkthrough, met the sellers, did the final walkthrough. We ended up discussing it. A day later, I contacted them, and I was like, this is where we got to be. We got to be at $30,000 cash, buying all, as is, paying all the closing costs. They told me pretty much like they were just going to list it with an agent, that they didn't want to do that, it's too low for them.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, that's fine. Waited about a week, followed back up. Hey, how's everything going? How's everything going with the agent? Do you need a referral? They were like, you know what? If you'll just do 35 grand, we'll take it, And I was like, oh, okay. Yep. Well, let me talk to my partner, talk to him. And he's like, I think we need to be a little lower. I'd still like to be at 30. We ended up meeting at 32. They were fine with it. We closed, within 30 days. They were gone in Texas. We bought it. I didn't do any of this. I'm just a lead generator wholesaler. He went in there, cleaned it out, did a little bit of updating to it. We put it up on the market. Within 30 days, it was sold. It was listed for $79. We sold it for $75, and it was a $22,900 profit.
$22,900 profit, and you never stepped foot in this house.
Step foot one time.
Yep. Why'd you even go there?
Well, he wanted me to go with him, my partner. So I met him at a gas station, rode down with him,
How much did you make?
Well, I made 30% out of the 22,900.
So, but the total deal was 22,900?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Come on.
And I never would have been able to wholesale that property for the price that I got it for, and they wasn't going to go lower than that. So that's why I think it's beneficial to squad up even with your buyers,
Oh, absolutely. Squat up with everybody. Listen,
Yeah.
be the magnet in your area. Be the person. Be the hub of the wheel. You know what I mean? Like, you go out there and you make the connections with everybody everybody that is involved in that transaction in our business, and people start bringing you deals. It's incredible how many opportunities you are able to find when people know, like, and trust you, and they understand that you're going to communicate with them. And I think
Yep.
that's something that's, people can know, like, and trust you, but if you're not reaching out to them and communicating with them and getting loud, they forget. So have pride in what you do and go out there and be as loud as possible. And that's incredible. Travis, how can people get a hold of you? How can they reach out and say congratulations? Or maybe they're in West Virginia and they're getting started and you've inspired them and they want to squat up with you.
Well, first of all, like, what I want to do this year is, I want to stay in my market, okay? But I want to open up a little more because I have done deals virtually as well. So what I want to do is continue here, but I want to squad up with more people all across the country. Like, let's say you got the lead that ghosts you and you want me to follow up, or you need help negotiating. I'm willing to get on the phone with you and walk you through this. I can do creative, so I can help you with that type of thing. So if you want to, squad up with me or just want to build a relationship with me, I'd love for you just to call me, 304-935-0990. You can call me, you can text me. That's my direct line. And I'd love to, just build a relationship with you.
I love it. 304-935-0990. Reach out to Travis, squad up anywhere in the country. He wants to hear from you and he wants to work with you. Absolutely incredible. But guys, be serious. Travis is only going to be around people that are going to take serious action and are committed to this business, because there is a huge difference between being interested and being committed. So if you're committed, reach out to Travis and he'll help you get your deals across the finish line. Absolutely incredible, Travis. Give some give advice to anybody starting out.
All I got to say is follow up. Don't worry about the price as much as the person, and be the best you can be for them. Figure out what they need. Figure out their story and do your best to provide every option available to them. And if they're meant to do a deal with you, it's going to happen. Just stay focused and don't give up. And every no is closer to a yes. And it could happen overnight. I mean, it will feel like it happened overnight. So just keep going and do what Brent Daniels says, because he's the man with the plan, and don't try to do it your way. Follow his steps.
I love it. Thank you, Travis, for being on here. I'm excited. Expand your business. Go bananas. There's going to be a lot of people reaching out that you put your phone number. Guys, all of that will be down below. If you're watching the YouTube channel, it'll be down below. You can see this interview at Brent Daniels' YouTube channel, or if you are on the podcast, it's going to be in the show notes. So will be a link to Deal Machine. So will be a link to the Growth Summit. We're all getting together, the first conference in over 3 years. It's going to be absolutely incredible. We're getting together April 15th and 16th in Phoenix, Arizona. Go to growthsummit2023.com. Pace Morby, Jamil Damji, myself, Tom Kroll, Todd Toback. We're all going to be there. We're all going to celebrate this business and really push really hard to show you the plays that work, the marketing that works, the strategies that work, the mindset that works to make this the absolute best year of your financial life. So make sure you check that out at Growth Summit 2023. And if you're interested in joining the most proactive group in real estate investing, the most proactive community, go to wholesalinginc.com. Join Travis, join myself, join the incredible all-stars that we have on this podcast in the Rhino Tribe. Go to wholesalinginc.com. Check out what it's all about. If it feels good in your gut, sign up for a call. And that's it, guys. I will sign off as I always do, encouraging you to go out there and talk to people. Till next time. Love you guys. See ya.